So the new vibe coding experience in Google AI Studio is insane. We talked about it in my last couple of videos. But the big question is, can you take those vibes and turn them into real automated production-ready app? The answer obviously is yes, and there are different ways of doing it, really depending on your objective. You can go ahead and do it the easy and the fast way, or you can use the pro and the scalable way. It all really depends on how you want to manage the backend or the operational side of the website. So what I decided was to make two videos covering both approaches with the same core idea. We'll be building a fully functional marketing lead capture website. This site will register users, send them a thank you email, and then store their data in the backend. The backend is where you manage that data. And this also really dictates the complexity of the whole process. Now that you have the scenario in mind, let me show you what exactly I built and how it looks like. So this is the landing page for a webinar that I'm planning to do on November 12th. And you can see that this has a nice trailer, which has an embedded YouTube video. So it claims it has a nice agenda. And this is where it allows to capture the leads as well. So I'm just going to use my own name, just give my own email address. And I'm just going to also ask like a question. So what is the difference between generative AI and agentic AI? And then I'm going to click on register now. So I immediately get a registration successful message. And then what happens is I get this email on my Gmail address. You can see that I just got this right now. Thank you for registering for our upcoming webinar. You also asked the question difference between generative and agentic AI. So it gives you an answer to that as well. And in a sense, this is how it is created, etc. It's pretty interesting when you see this. So what you're really seeing is a fully functional website which captures a lead on a Google Sheet, and then it sends an email on their email address, whatever they've specified, but also answers the question that they have asked in advance. So that is the website that we will build, but we will build it the easy way. Means in this situation, we are going to store the data here in Google Sheets, and then we will use N8N to basically automate that whole workflow. And that's why I'm calling it the easy way. All right, we'll go through the step-by-step process and see how we will go ahead and build something like this. So if you think about it, it all starts with defining a user experience in Google AI Studio. So you're basically writing a nice prompt. This is what you're seeing over here. And then once you're done with the prompt, like the AI Studio really responds and creates a beautiful UI. And this is really a modern React and Tailwind kind of an application, right? So we'll get into the code, etc. in AI Studio so that you can see the structure. But this is really what happens, right? So you provide the prompt and it generates the application. So the code is really useless because no one in the world can actually use it. It is only going to be limited to your own laptop. So this is where there is an option in Google AI Studio for you to deploy this. So when you click on that, it directly with one click of a button, Google AI Studio is able to deploy this in Google Cloud, in Cloud Run. Again, I will cover all of this as part of the live demo. You need to have Google Cloud Project and stuff like that with billing enabled. This is directly now possible as part of AI Studio, right? Once you click on that, just like that, our website is going to be live. Now, the next level of thinking is this one is a one-way street, right? Where you are able to, get information from the website, but what if as a user, you wanted to provide some information back to the website, right? So this is where you will need to think of a way to capture the data from a form. And this is where I'm going to talk about the first option, which is capturing the data via Google Sheets and then using N8N to basically automate the workflow, get it triggered, and then send an email to the email address. The other option will be more scalable, secure, and robust, which will be the Google Cloud BigQuery and creating the backend server and everything in Google Cloud, which will be the second video, okay? So with this, now let's get into Google AI Studio and start with step number one, which is how do we give the prompt, etc. So as soon as you're in Google AI Studio, you're being greeted by this particular homepage where you see three different cards. One is focused on the vibe coding side of the house. The second one is focused on the different models. And the third one is focused really from a developer's perspective on the monitoring dashboard. I have covered the overall Google AI Studio in detail. I will leave you a link in the description. You can please go ahead and check it out. For this video, we're going to focus on the vibe coding aspect of AI Studio. So since you want to build this particular landing page, this is the prompt that I'm going to give. I'm also going to share this as part of the description, but this is what I'm asking you to do, right? So create a professional looking web page where it is talking about signing up for a webinar. It should be organized in few clearer sections. So I'm describing that. It should have the main banner. Then I want a countdown clock Then I will say, okay, so give an agenda. Then this is the cool thing, which is webinar trailer. So I want to, embed a YouTube video that I've done so that people can see my style and stuff like that, so that they're more attracted, or if they can relate to it or not. And then I will have a sign up form where people can give their details and submit the button, right? So that they can receive a confirmation email, etc. So this is a prompt that I have given. And then as soon as I hit enter, it starts developing the code. And this is where you see immediately how Google AI Studio is very different from rest of the AI vibe codes out there, right? So what vibe coding tools out there. So what it is doing is it is providing you in context recommendations. So for example, here I'm talking about like a webinar landing page, and it's saying that, okay, allow attendees to share the webinar on social media platforms. So very good in context recommendation. You would see more, right? Introduce the webinar speakers with brief biographies and professional photos. So if I keep adding all of these, right, you can see that I can keep adding all of these. And then once it is done, the initial production, then I can rerun this and it will add all of these features as well. So it's pretty cool what it is doing. And you can see that it provides you a lot of different options. Now, while it is doing it, let's look at the code that it has developed. So you can see that it does a really cool job as a developer would do, right? It creates all different components and then have the index file. And here you would see that I asked it to have a YouTube file. So in the trailer.txt, it has done exactly that. So it has have the iframe, and here you see the YouTube embedded one. So what I'm going to do is I want to have this particular introductory video of mine, which is welcome to my channel kind of stuff. So here, when you click on this share button, you will see that I have YouTube provides this embedded options. So I'm just going to copy this whole thing and then go back to my code and then replace this whole iframe with that. So once I replace it, it may not immediately appear here. There is this error 153, which is a known error, but it will work absolutely fine once you deploy this in Cloud Run, okay? So once we are done with this, then you have the basic code which is available. Now, we need to think about the next steps, right? So right now, if someone enters their details here, where is it gonna go? Where is it gonna get captured? So I created this workflow in order to explain how do we do this from a low-code perspective. So what we just saw right now is we had the front end where someone actually fills the form. And then what needs to happen is once someone fills the form, then we need to have something in the backend, which will be through N8N, which I will explain, where there will be a webhook which will be listening to the data. That means someone fills the form, catches the data, and then it takes the data and uploads the Google Sheet. And then you should have an AI node within N8N, which is able to create like a smart reply, and then it sends an email, right? So it's as simple as that. And then the data is stored in Google Sheet, and then the user is also notified of the reply. So let's look at that particular workflow here directly in N8N so that it makes more sense. So this is where I created this webhook. And what we need to do is we need to provide this webhook production URL to Google AI Studio so that it can understand that it needs to send the data to this. And then we will attach this webhook to an AI agent, which is where what we are telling it is, you are a helpful email assistant, write a personalized thank you email to the name, that first name, and then send their email is this. What I'm also doing is I'm asking it to also respond to the question that they've asked as part of the question, right? So you can see that these are the questions that they're asking. So this is one of my previous runs. And then once they're done with that, right, like then send an email. So you can see that I've already set this up so that it should be able to send this email. And then once they've done all of these things, then append the Google Sheet as part of that, right? So if you look at the workflow again, what we need to configure is we need to have a trigger webhook setup, which should be post method. So you can see that the method is post. And then the AI agent needs to have access to the Gemini chat model. So you need to have a Gemini account, or you could have OpenAI or whatever. I'm trying to do this in the Google ecosystem. And then you can also provide the Gmail, use the Gmail as a tool, but you can use like any other email vendor as well. So in this case, like you need to provide like the Gmail authorization. If you don't have one, N8N does a very good job in explaining how to get it. It's very straightforward. So once you're done with this, then you attach the AI agent to a Google Sheet as the output. So the output of the AI agent will be taken as an input here, and then append the row. That means write a row on top of it, right? So this is the overall flow of N8N. So what we're really doing is, if you look at this particular form, right here, you have the name, you have the email, and you have the questions. And then if you go back to N8N here, you would see that this is what the webhook is going to listen for, right? So as soon as this is live, and as soon as an event comes in, it takes that and breaks it into all of this. And you can see that it has already taken the name and email and the question here. And then from here, it passes that to the AI agent. And then if you look at this, It is taking all of this as an input to the AI agent and then passing it to the chat model. So if I click on this one, then it takes this as a system message. It has all of these different things, and then it provides the output as well over here. And then from a tool perspective, this is the Gmail tool, which gets this as the email, which it will pick from this, and then I've added some other things as well. The email body should be like this, and then that sends the email, and then the output of that goes and is updated on the sheet, right? So that is the idea. So you can see the entire workflow is being triggered automatically as soon as someone goes ahead and enters. We'll do something right now. Okay, let's say that we were submitting something like this. This is the email. This is the question, RAG versus fine tuning. And as soon as I hit the registration button, now let's go back to N8N and look what happens here, right? So I'm here and it would have executed the workflow. So let's see the executions here. And this is the latest one. It has succeeded. You will see here the webhook. You will see that this is the same thing that we just entered. So this is doing good. That has gone to the AI agent. It should have done its job. And then it should have appended the sheet as well. I should have sent an email. So let's look at each one of those things, right? So number one, let's go to the sheet and look if it has appended. So here you can see that it has done its job and it has appended. Now let's go to my email and see if it has sent the email or not. So let me get into my email. Here I can see my email, Dear Surya Live. We also notice your question is very relevant insight, and we are excited to delve into the relevant topics, right? So the LLM has its brain of its own, so it decides on when it needs to answer, when it needs to provide something as part of the webinar itself. So you can see that it is working pretty much fine, and that is a flow, right? This is where we were able to connect the form of this particular website directly into N8N, and you can see that how the user not only gets the registration successful here, but also gets to see this live on their Google Sheet, right? So that's one. So what you can do here is, the one thing which I didn't show you yet is, how you can put this in production. So I'm going to save this, and then here I will click on the deploy app button, and then what it'll ask me is to select a Google Cloud project. So I'm going to select this one because I know this is where my billing has been set up. And then I'm just going to click on deploy app. And then as soon as I click on deploy app, I'll be given a link to the app. And that is basically a public URL link, which you can use and share it with anyone in order for you to go ahead and access that. So it's going to take a second because it's deploying. And so if I click on this, it takes me to this particular link here. And you can see that, it has done a fantastic job in getting this out, right? Now, one last thing that I would like to discuss is the URL here that you see it's not something which is pretty cool. And you might want to have something associated with a domain that you own. So let me just quickly show you what you need to do to get that going. All right, so for that, you will need to come to Google Cloud and go to Cloud Run, because that is where your application has been deployed. So you can see that this is the one which I just deployed like 7 minutes back. So that's the link that you saw. So you click on that, and then you can see that this is the same URL that we saw, which was published earlier. What you need to do is here, there is something called as domain mappings. So you get into this, and this is where you click on this, and you can map it to this particular one, which we just created. And then you can specify like a domain that you own, right? So you can verify a new domain. And then this is where you can go to, so for example, I have GoDaddy. So here I have this ailearning.com. So I'm just going to go back and provide that as a new domain here. So I'm just going to click on continue, and then it's going verify in search console. So it's going to give me this option, and then I'm just going to again click on continue. So it's going to do a little bit, and it's going to say that, okay, instructions for this. So it's because it's in GoDaddy, going to follow that, and then it's going to ask me to continue and sign in and stuff like that. It's pretty much automated. If you legitimately own the domain, then it should take very less amount of time to get this validated. All right, so it has validated this, and then it is asking me to go to the property. So you can see that I'm here. And then at any point in time, what I can do is once it is done, then I'll come back here and hit on refresh. And this is where I can provide the subdomain. So I'm going to just give www. And then once I'm done with this, then it gives me the DNS records, which I will then need to go to GoDaddy and then update the DNS records manually, right? So once I'm done with that, then I will be able to basically map this to this particular domain that I own. The whole idea here, which I'm trying to explain here, is you need to get the domain mappings from Google Cloud. And then once you're done with the domain, the DNS records, then you go to whichever is your domain provider and update those DNS records manually. And then that's how you will be able to transfer your URL to a domain that you own directly. So that's it. All right. I hope that was helpful. What we just saw today was how to create an end-to-end, fully functional, automated lead creation website using Google AI Studio and N8N, which not only captures the lead and saves it in Google Sheet, but also sends an automated email directly to the participants. This kind of workflow allows you to create unlimited websites in a very short amount of time with fully blown automation. So that's the idea that I wanted to communicate. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this helpful, please do hit that like button and subscribe. I will make another video around how we can deploy this in Google Cloud, where we will store the data in BigQuery instead of Google Sheets, and how that automation will come together. That'll be in my next video, so please stay tuned. And in the meanwhile, if you have any questions or if any comments, please do let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.